For we know that the whole creation groans and labors with birth pangs together until now. Not only that, but we also who have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves, say we ourselves, what do? We groan, eagerly waiting for the adoption and the redemption of our body. Did you know that in you there's a groan? In humans and all of humanity, there's a groan that says, I want to be redeemed. I want to live forever. I want to be healed. I want to be delivered. I want this body to live forever. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, whoever reads, let him understand. So he's inviting you to a revelation there. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let him who is on the housetop not go down and take anything out of his house. And let him who is in the field not go back to get his clothes. But woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing babies in those days. And pray that your flight may not be in winter or on the Sabbath. For then there will be great tribulation, say great tribulation, such has not been seen since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, say that's me, those days will be shortened. Then he goes on to say, then if anyone says to you, look, here is the Christ, or there, do not believe it, for false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. Say crazy times. See, I have told you beforehand. Therefore, if they say to you, look, he is in the desert, do not go out. Look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and the flashes from the west, so also will be the coming of the Son of Man. For wherever the carcass is, there the eagles will be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, say after, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven, say the powers of the heaven, will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn. They will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end to the other. So Jesus will come after all these things. So that means you have some work to do. Jesus isn't coming tomorrow. Did you hear that? He's not coming tomorrow. He's coming after, which means you have work to do, which means you must occupy till he comes, which means you must preach this gospel of the kingdom. Because everything we're seeing is just the birth pains, the earth groaning in labor, the earthquakes, the storms, the famines, the pestilences, the wars, the rumors of wars, the nations fighting against nation, the love of many waxing cold, the betrayal of many, and the rise of false prophets and deception. All of these things are just birth pains. It's just the beginning of sorrows, which means you have work to do, right? Let's go back to Romans 8, verse 22. For we know that the whole creation groans and labors with birth pangs together until now. Not only that, but we also who have the first fruits of the Spirit, say the first fruits. Say that's me. I have the first fruits of the Spirit. In verse 23, it says, even we ourselves, say we ourselves. What do? We groan, eagerly waiting for the adoption and the redemption of our body. Did you know that in you there's a groan? In humans and all of humanity, there's a groan that says, I want to be redeemed. I want to live forever. I want to be healed. I want to be delivered. I want to be redeemed. I want this body to live forever. Does anybody else want this body to live forever? So there's a groan in man, and there's a groan in all of creation. Say all of creation. And there is a labor and a groan within all of creation. Even we ourselves groan, eagerly waiting for the adoption, the redemption of our body. That's when Jesus returns, and our body in a twinkle of an eye is glorified. Say glorified. For we were saved in this hope. Say this hope. So this is what we were saved in, for this hope. Meaning that this gospel, we were saved in this hope for the redemption of our body and for the revealing of the sons of God, which all creation groans for. But hope that is seen is not hope. For why does one still hope for what he sees? But if we hope for what we do not see, we eagerly wait for it with perseverance. Say perseverance. So likewise, the Spirit also helps in our weakness, for we do not know what we should pray for as we ought. But the Spirit himself makes intercession, say intercession, for us with what? Groanings which cannot be uttered. So we discover here that all of creation's groaning and laboring with birth pangs. We ourselves groan and labor. And then the Holy Spirit groans. Creation's groaning, you're groaning, the Spirit's groaning. And it says the Spirit helps us in our weakness when we don't know how to pray. So this groaning is when the Spirit of God is discovering the groans of heaven and the groans of the earth. And they're laboring together with what? Birth pangs. Which tells you that when you're groaning in the Spirit, you're groaning to give birth to something. Who wants to see their prayers answered? Beloved, what if I told you that until that prayer is a groan and there's a push, say push. See, we want prayer to be comfortable all the time. Now there's a time for intimacy, but what I'm talking about is intercession. I'm talking about birthing the realities of God's perfect will here on earth as it is in heaven. There must be a labor that goes forth. There must be a birthing that goes forth. As a matter of fact, when Samuel, the prophet, was to be born, it says that Hannah, say Hannah, Hannah went to pray. And it says that when Hannah went to the temple to pray, she had prayed in such a way that no words came out of her mouth. She prayed in such a way that no words came out, and all she could do was groan.